Are you ready to play FNAF Connect the Dots? Cause I am ready. Get me a corkboard and some strings up behind me, and let's put on our little tinfoil hats, friends, because we are about to get into it. Welcome back again, my fellow gamers. I am your host, Amanda McKnight, and this is Top 10 Gaming. Today we return to the upcoming FNAF game Security Breach and dive into the debates behind a very mysterious character, Vanessa, as we count down the top 10 reasons FNAF Vanessa is Vanessa Afton. Or is she? Let's get theorizing and find out, shall we? Number 10. Appearance. It is possible that Vanessa's appearance could hint at her connection to the Afton family. Many have said that she resembles Elizabeth Afton quite a bit, who appears to have somewhere between blonde and ginger-colored hair, more like a strawberry blonde in my opinion, and green eyes. Vanessa shares these features, and her eyes are a very standout green color. Because of this, we could consider that she might be related to the family in some way, considering she shares that appearance. Does she resemble Elizabeth so closely because perhaps she is her mother? And has Elizabeth been born yet? Or are we meeting Vanessa Afton before she was married and had children? Where this takes place in the timeline, or which reality even, obviously plays heavily into helping us lock in our speculations as bona fide facts. But also, that timeline's a mess, so good luck with figuring that out. Number 9. Our hero. Another reason that Vanessa could be related to Afton is that we could see her be taking on the role of another daughter or some other relation. Perhaps she is the twin sister of Elizabeth who lived and who up till now we did not know about. Vanessa does seem to be possibly following a trajectory similar to Michael Afton's as a hero who is aware of the danger around her and who is set out to stop her father's work, put an end to it, and free those who have become his victims. Now, in this case, not necessarily saving her possible other sister, Elizabeth, who's already been freed we believe at this point, but instead the child known as Gregory. However, it is possible that this is just what Scott Cawthon wants us to think, but is setting us up for a huge reveal in terms of Vanessa's true allegiance and identity instead. That good old misdirect. Number 8. Elizabeth Afton. The other theory is that her appearance resembles Elizabeth Afton because she is her, but the reason why we know this isn't true and can be dismissed is that we know her name is Vanessa, not Elizabeth, and we know her age is 23 from a scrapped email found within the code of special delivery. The email lists her as Vanessa A, 23 and working in the security department. Well, it just says security, but I'm assuming it's the security department. That has to be our Vanessa, right? I mean, it would be too strange if it were some bizarre coincidence. Also, Scott loves leaving little Easter eggs for us, so it seems likely that this description is meant to belong to Vanessa from Security Breach, who we see as our security guard. So this would then imply that Vanessa is 23 years old, which means, unless this is some alternate virtual inspired version of Elizabeth recreated in a game, something like we saw in Help Wanted, that she couldn't be Elizabeth, as Elizabeth died when she was young. So we can dismiss that theory that her resemblance means that she is actually Elizabeth somehow and not Elizabeth's mother. Number 7. Robot Elizabeth Afton? I know I just said there is no way that Vanessa could be Elizabeth or be directly connected to her without being her mom, but hey, let's play devil's advocate for a second. After all, if we think back to the timeline and all the hints that a lot of the events in the games took place in possibly like the 70s or the 80s, it seems unlikely that in 2020, where this game seems to take place, Vanessa could be Elizabeth's mom. I mean, when was Elizabeth born? When did she die? It just doesn't really make sense in regards to the already messy timeline, because I can't really figure in how she could be her mom unless that happens after, and it's all very confusing. However, is it possible that Vanessa is Elizabeth somehow reborn? Perhaps like what we saw with Charlie in the books. She was recreated basically as like a robot. Elizabeth in this case could be made by William Afton herself and made to simply appear as human and then be renamed as Vanessa. Or perhaps she is simply a new creation who is a robot made to believe she's William's daughter. Maybe all of his children are actually or were actually robots made to seem like or believe that they were human. Whoa. What? Number 6. Her age. 23 is a very specific number. What does this possible age for Vanessa tell us about the character? Well, if we had a more clear family timeline, well, that would that would help a lot, or even information as to if William's children are naturally born of him and potentially his wife, or his lover, or if they were adopted, or what. Who are these children? Where did they come from? These are questions I have. Sadly, we don't really have any of that information. In fact, I don't even really know how old William Afton is at this point, even though I know he's dead. Like, how old would he have been when he died? When was he born? I got a lot of questions there. So we have just a lot of speculation. A lot of fans theorize that if there was a Mrs. Afton, that she possibly died tragically in a car crash. And it does seem that Balora is based off of someone who was close to William, possibly someone who brought a lot of joy and love into his life who he missed. Is it possible that this person is Vanessa, who maybe met him through a job working at Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex? We don't know as of yet, but it's a possibility. Perhaps we are meeting Vanessa before she becomes William's love or wife, or perhaps just his baby mama. Who knows? Number 5. Vanessa A. In scrapped emails found in Special Delivery, where we also found hints for Vanessa's age based on the area she is listed as working in, we also got a hint as to her last name. Assuming this is the same Vanessa, of course. Her last initial is given to us here as A. Obviously, this has driven fans wild and caused them to believe that yes, she is definitely a member of the Afton family tree. Is Vanessa Afton, however, William's wife, or could she be another relative, another child of his, or possibly his sister or his cousin? Perhaps there is a less direct connection to Michael, Elizabeth, and William here that could also be explored. But either way, Afton begins with an A, and Vanessa's last name likely does as well. I love connect the dots Easter eggs like this. I need like a connect the dots FNAF book, and it's just like a bunch of random hints that we've gotten of things, and you have to try to be like, how do these all connect to each other? Someone make me a book like that. I will buy it. Number 4. Vanny. Many have theorized that Vanny and Vanessa are indeed the same person, and we have scrapped and hidden emails from Special Delivery to prove it. There are a few emails addressed to Ness, or Nessie97 as she is known, that imply Ness works for the company. It is believed based on the content of the emails that Ness is indeed Vanny, and we can theorize through these similar names that the two characters are actually one and the same. Perhaps different personas belonging to the same person. One of which is infected perhaps with the virus from William Afton, which has her possessed by Glitchtrap, making her kind of like the new Glitchtrap, if you will. Or perhaps her participation is more willfully involved than we suspect. I mean, just because she was referred to as a reluctant follower doesn't mean that she's still one now. Either way, Ness's username of Nessie97 could imply that Ness was born in 1997, as people often use their birth year in usernames to more easily identify themselves and for, memorization purposes, because you usually don't forget what year you were born. If Ness was born in 1997, this would mean by the year 2020 that she would be 23 years old. What? Especially if this game takes place, I think, after September, which I think is her birth month. That's also in the emails. If she is 23, this would match the age that was given to Vanessa A's records in the other scrapped emails. Connect the dots, FNAF edition. Number 3. The new antagonist. Vanessa is also believed to be an Afton because if she is Vanny, she has some murderous tendencies for sure. I mean, she certainly appears menacing and dangerous in the trailer. And once again, we also have evidence from the scrapped emails of Special Delivery to back up her sinister presence and possibly plots. It said that a virus was moved into some sort of programming using a false credential, which allows those using the credentials to override security protocols on animatronics. Uh-oh. It's also implied that Ness could be the culprit, although her fellow colleague is willing to believe that it wasn't her. Please. I don't know why I laughed at that, but Louis just cracks me up in these emails. He's so needy, and he's so like, please date me, I'm Louis. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Louis, take a hint. I don't think Ness is interested. I'm sorry. We also know that Ness has been buying human-like face masks and has ordered fabric, possibly to build her bunny costume. Number 2. Heir of Afton. Because of Vanny's menacing presence, who many believe to be Vanessa A, or in these emails V_A, another persona just to add to her long lists, we can also find another connection here to the Afton name in the role that the character plays. Vanessa could actually be an active participant participant in this plot who is only pretending to be a good security guard to lure in her prey more easily, which would make sense given what we know of the games and how victims are usually ensnared or entrapped in such a manner in the stories told there. Because of this method, it is possible that Vanessa could actually be the heir of William Afton and either be taking up his last name in honor of him, and maybe she's not directly related, or she could actually be a relative of his, a daughter who has taken up the role of carrying on her father's vision, taking his place as the resident mass murderer of the Freddy Fazbear franchise. Number 1. Animatronic Master. Like a puppet master, you know? There are also theories that Vanessa has gone beyond the villain she aspires to be in terms of her capabilities, not just setting the animatronics loose on innocent victims and altering their safety settings, but in fact manipulating and controlling them remotely, including Vanny, something that Vanessa could be an Afton who aspires to be even greater than the person she reluctantly serves, and controls Vanny from afar, not appearing as her. Now, this would also protect her sort of like seeming innocence as well, so pretty smart. People have cited Vanny's jump scare and glowing red eyes as evidence, as well as her constant references to glitching out, implying that if we are in the physical world, that Vanny is actually a robot or animatronic controlled, perhaps even built, by successor Vanessa Afton. What are some of the reasons you think Vanessa is Vanessa Afton? Do you think Vanny and Vanessa are the same person, or do you think they're different people? Do you think Vanessa is William's daughter, or possibly his romantic partner? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it's time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Scary Xbox Creepypastas That Will Make You Cry. The unknown comments, thank God I switched to PlayStation 7 years ago. I mean, yeah, but I feel like we got some PlayStation creepypastas for you around here somewhere, so if you want to scare yourself out of PlayStation as well, go check those out. Andre Brown comments, the scariest Xbox story, the Red Ring of Death, 3 skull emojis. Yeah, the Red Ring of Death is also just like a real world scary story if you are still playing with a 360. I don't think it can happen to you on Xbox One. I don't know, Chris, can it happen to you on Xbox One? Do you know? I hope not. I hope not. That would be awful. Then it would really be scary. I'd be like, I didn't even know this was possible. Ah! Doc Skywalker 51 writes, prepare for the tissues. Yes, get those tissues ready because those creepypastas, they will make you cry. There's some pretty scary ones on there. And that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to comment below for a chance to have your thoughts and feels shouted out in a future list. This has been Top 10 Gaming, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you to keep on gaming on. Pew pew!